Running a good startup can often take up to 7 to 10 years. In the first year, startups are expected to do about 2 years worth of work. Chinedu Onyaso, co-founder Jar NG, shares experience and challenges in running a startup.
So why did you decide to be a startup?
I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I can remember when I finished my undergrad, I did a thesis, and right from graduating, I was thinking of how to apply what I did in my thesis to turn it into a business. And from there, I did my NYSC, and even when I went to further my studies in the master's, I always thought of coming back to Nigeria and starting my own business.
So you furthered within the engineering field as well?
Yeah, so when I did my master's, today one interesting thing happened. So I was going to do a master's in telecommunications. And then when I went there, I found out that university had a dual engineering and entrepreneurship program, right? And because I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I decided to change my course. So I ended up doing electrical electronics engineering and entrepreneurship.
So up until now, you've not been in any paid employment?
Oh, I have. So when I finished, I don't know if you count NYSC. So I had the privilege of working with Chevron, which was when I did my NYSC, which was a really good experience, seeing how a big organization was run and being a part of that. And then when I finished my studies, I also had the opportunity to work as an IT analyst in a creative agency in the UK.
So how long have you been a startup?
I've been a startup, so I decided to, so while I was working, I'd kind of started doing things on the side, had a business, but then when I moved back to Nigeria in 2013, I decided, it's time to go into this full-time. So from 2013, I've been full-time entrepreneur, I would say.
Yeah, and how's the experience been?
Man, it's been something, it's been something. Because you kind of think, it's going to, looking back, my journey from 2013 to now, like living in the UK, working, having a paid salary, okay. And then coming back to starting your business, you have all these ideas, but oftentimes, what you intend going out for might not really be what the market is saying. So, there's been like ups and downs, pivoting here and there. It's been challenging, but it's also been adventurous, right? So there's been the rewards of it as well. So I think looking back, I kind of recount the challenges, but in all, it's been a worthwhile experience, I would say.
Okay, so you have been in the co-working hub ecosystem. Do you think being in Idea Nigeria has helped you in any way?
Yeah, it's been. So we made a conscious decision. So when we started our business, we had an office, we had a place we're working from, but we wanted to be part of the ecosystem. So a lot of things were going on in Yaba. We just felt instead of trying to build your business in isolation, it might be worthwhile coming into a place where you can learn from other entrepreneurs.
So you closed down your office?
Oh yeah, well, we still had the office because we had paid for it, but then we started working from here.
And how helpful is it with the collaboration with other startups? What has been the most helpful point for you? So there's been a lot of things that come together, right? So it's not just one thing. So coming here, one is a conducive working environment, so you don't have to worry about like generator or internet. The internet here is the best I've used in Nigeria. I can see that for sure. But that's the facilities of being able to work from here 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And even on Saturdays. Then there's access to, so we're part of the accelerator program, which granted us access to mentors. We had sessions where people from more experienced people in business come in, and share some of their experiences. We have a technical advisor that we basically have access to for our technical. You don't pay all these people?
No, we don't pay them. So these are part of the things that you get from being a part of the IDEA program.
Okay, but what about funding? How have you been able to deal with that?
Yeah, so funding, so we actually did get some, because we are part of the accelerator program, we did get some funding from IDEA. But in all, we've sort of had to leverage. And so taking you back to when we started the business, we kind of looked at what do we need to operate to a level where maybe it will be easier to get external investors. So we kind of did our maths, we did our research. We figured out, okay, we just need to get the first version of the product, prove that it can work, and then it will be able to get access to funds. So at that stage, we figured out how much is it what we're going to need. We did our financials, and then we decided to raise that because at that point it was just an idea, right? So we kind of leveraged our network. We were able to get some funds, and that's basically what's taking us to basically where we are right now. And then things like the idea funds coming in also helped out.
So from the idea stage to this point now, how long was this?
Well, I would say about a year.
About a year.
Yeah, about a year. And that's another thing, right? So you plan. So ideally, when we did our plan, it was going to be, we're looking at by December 2015, we would have launched the product, we would have had this number of users, so it was all nice and, stuff. But when you now get into the real thing, of business, you find out that things are not always the way you plan it out to be, right? So from things like developing the technology, there might be things that we didn't really see. We had to, because we really wanted to do it properly, we wanted to have a product that really works. So we had to do testings. The first test we did the first version of the product, brought in a group of people, and man, things weren't working, right? So, it was like, I had to go back to the drawing board, you had to change something. So we've done that a couple of times, right, to get to this stage. So it's not always as planned, so it's taking us a year to get here, and sometimes people will be like, why is it taking it so long? But I know all the things that we've had to go through, I know all the things that we've had to learn, and anybody that is trying to do what we're trying to do right now, I know they will also have to go through those orders.
Research is a major factor for running one because it's important for startups to know if their idea is viable or not.
Being a tech startup, and of course, every other startup, research, how do you deal with research in a tech company?
Well, it's difficult, especially here in Nigeria, right? Research, in other countries, you could just go online, and find like research papers and find things. But here, it's difficult to find real data. So there's a mix of, and sometimes some of the data that you want, you have to pay for it. Some, marketing information data, for example, Nielsen reports, you have to pay for those reports. So as a startup, you don't really have access to pay for those sort of things. So for us, what we did a mix of both. So we did online surveys. We went out, physically. I remember going to Unilag, talking to people about our product, getting their feedback. So we did a mix of that, and also we kind of got. So there's still some information you can find online, So for certain sectors, so some of our product there's an intersection in the telecommunications. So that information is really there, right? The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, there's some information that are there, and then there's some that we have to leverage, look for people that we know that maybe have access to some documents and try to get them from them.
So I did get a chance to see your website just before the interview, and I'm wondering, how did you go about having those partnerships?
Okay, so I guess just to sort of backdrop and just give an overview so people will be able to get more perspective. So what we do with our product is basically we reward people's routines, right? So we look at it that a consumer normally would buy your airtime, you pay your utility bills, PHCN, internet services, but you just pay for them and get those services, right? But we've kind of decided to take it a step further and say, pay for your airtime through Jara. That's what our app is called. It's an app on the Android store, and then you get access to discount vouchers to places you will normally go for. So discounts on movies, discount on shopping, discounts on entertainment, and all sorts, and on food, right? And it's something that needs a lot of partnership.
In the next couple of months, you will be, in quotes, living idea. Do you think the support you've gotten is enough in this period, or you think it should be extended until, say, you are 3-5 years as a startup?
I think that there is always, one can always ask for more, right? But I think, so there's a way to look at it. If you look at it from what I've already benefited from my idea, right? Is it worthwhile, right? It's not really my right? I could have actually gone build our business without idea, but I think it would have maybe taken us a little while longer to get to where we are right now. So whether, of course, we would appreciate the support, if we can get that more, but then we understand that, there are more, there are constraints, there are more startups that are also like us that need the opportunity that we've had.
But the reason why I asked that question is because the truth of the matter is that a startup might be doing well while at idea, and there will be this assumption that startup is already good to go out. And the startup go out there, and then things are different.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm wondering if it should be extended, there should be more government support so that we ensure that the startups can actually stand before they go out.
Yeah, I think well, with regards to more government support, because I guess IDEA basically has a budget, so they have to work with what they have. So more government support would help because you will be able to do more. So for example, the way IDEA ideally should work is by the end of the program, you have a demo day, right? So they have investors that are coming in. So by the time you pitch to them, you're supposed to raise money. And then raising that money, you're now able to pay for your office, pay for your staff, and then you can move. And then another person comes in, right? But in reality, it doesn't really work as much.
So the demo day doesn't work?
No, demo day works, but what happens is,
come?
Yeah, investors come, but then it's not like this that you get money, right? So, sometimes it takes a while, sometimes you're having meetings, they want to understand, they want to get to know more about your business, they want to get to know more about you, right? So it's not like an instant thing, so sometimes it could take a couple of months before you actually get to close.
And at that point, you may have left the...
And at that point, you might have left the accelerator program, so you're sort of trying to figure out, how to sustain yourself and keep it. It's a struggle, but every other person faces it.
So as a young Nigerian, as a young startup, what's your word of advice to someone watching this show thinking, oh, I have an idea, what should I do?
I think business is not easy. I have to say that. I've seen that for sure. Like I've experienced that. It's not, if it's someone that is working, I always advise my friends that are working, don't be so quick to jump, and say, quit your business.
But I hope you have no regrets.
No, I don't have any regrets, right? It's been a worldwide experience for me, and then it kind of gets easier. You get more and more better with things as days goes by. But the advice I'll give people is, if you have a paid employment, just see how you could start. How can you start while you're still working? What can you start? So, and then it's important that you save. You start putting some money. So like the basic things you can start doing is, start doing your research. How much is it going to be? So if I stop working, how much do I need to sustain myself on a lean budget for a period of time? How much can I keep myself going? And then try to save, to that. So don't just jump. Just kind of make sure that, you plan and you work towards it. Instead of just kind of living.
Chief, thank you for being on TechTrends today.
Thank you for having me.
Wish you all the best.
It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
We've come to the end of today's show. However, the conversation continues online. Remember, you can watch these and previous editions of the show on the channel's TV YouTube account or via my blog techsmart.ng. For TechTrends, I am Chukwuemeka Agbata.